Have you ever wondered what vehicles the Swedes drove during the Second World War? Or maybe how propaganda works? Then you come right. This is Cold Facts World War II. Now I'm going to meet two experts about World War II.
Hi, Simon.
Good day.
Hello.
Hi, Simon.
Pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, thank you.
So Håkon, tell me about this vehicle. This is a carrier and was built in the late 40s. It was specialized for hard conditions. It was used in 46 countries. It could carry over 16 people. It was used mostly in Africa. Now, to be honest, I don't really know much about the Swedish cars during the Second World War. But with me here, I've got Håkon who can talk me through it.
Of course. So, this is a good example of a KP vehicle deployed to defend Stockholm during the World War II. This could take more than 15 people and was used to the late 1990s. This vehicle could manage to drive through water and steep hills. The thing about this vehicle is that it has two sentry guns placed on the top of the car. And the cool thing is this car was also used by the UN in the Congo War.
An example of this was the British attempt to cross the German blockade in Skagerrak. Sorry, my Swedish pronunciation isn't the best. The 5 boats were modified for this special mission. The ships were, for example, really shallow, about 5 feet, so they could float above the minefield. The plan was to reach Lysekil and then return back with the ball bearings to the English coast. The Swedish trade with the Allies was a lot more complicated. It was stopped by the German blockade during the German attack in Norway in 1940. Though the Allies made several attempts to smuggle the ball bearings through the blockade.
Now, as you might understand, the living conditions were not that great during the war. But this propaganda film showed a different story. And to talk about that, I got Igor Palenkov with me. Now Igor, tell me about these films.
Yes, during World War II, many movies were shown on the screens in the whole world, and all of them contain very good picture of the war. Soldiers were building bridges, but that was not the truth. All these movies are examples of how propaganda makers encourage their own population and threaten their enemies. As I already said before, propaganda was an important tool and weapon during World War II. Many types of media were used for propaganda, such as TV, radio, newspapers, music, and also posters. And today we're going to look at some of the most famous posters from World War II. Okay, so here is some posters. On number 1, this one from Soviet Russia. Don't talk. From America. The US Army needs you. This one also from America. We can do it. And here is one from Great Britain. Britain shall not burn. And the last one from Germany. Waffen SS. But it was not only posters. Movies were also used as propaganda. In the Soviet movie, If the War Will Start Tomorrow, we see how filmmakers made their own armies look greater Here we see the Soviet army attack and destroy the German forces. This was not the reality. The German army took millions of Soviet soldiers as prisoners. So, the most famous propaganda from Sweden during Second World War is a Swedish tiger. En svensk tiger was a slogan and an image that became part of a propaganda campaign in Sweden during World War II, aiming to prevent espionage by encouraging secrecy. In Swedish, svensk can mean both Swedish and Swede, while tiger can mean either the animal tiger or the present tense of the verb tiga, to keep silent, giving the poster the double meaning a Swedish tiger or a Swede keeps silent. The invasion of Soviet Union started on June the 22nd, 1941 at 4 a.m. 3.8 million German soldiers attacked the Soviet border. The Operation Barbarossa had just begun. The Red Army was not ready and lost more than 5 million men in the first stage of the war. The propaganda did not show the truth. Once more, the movie and the reality didn't match together.
Now, Lars, tell me about a usual day for these brave soldiers.
Yeah, David. They woke up at 5 a.m. in the morning, they ate some breakfast, and then they went out training for a couple of hours. And then in the afternoon they came back for weapon cleaning, and then they had some free time until 10 p.m. in the evening.
Anti-aircraft warfare was considered important even before the war began, due to Sweden's small aircraft capacity in the 1930s. The Bofors 40mm, a Swedish autocannon, was exported to most warring countries in thousands of examples, making it the most common anti-aircraft weapon of the war. Sweden is known for its neutrality during the war, but that was not the truth. The first challenge came during the 1939 war between Finland and Russia, where Finland, which shared a bond with Sweden, pleaded for military assistance. 8,000 volunteers crossed the border to help Finland's defense, but Swedish government officially did not become involved, aside from sending food and clothing as humanitarian aid. The next challenge came in April 1940, when Germany invaded Norway. Sweden remained neutral, but as both neighbors became involved in war while Germany controlled the Baltic Sea, Sweden was virtually under a blockade and was unable to conduct business with any foreign nations except for Germany. Food for soldiers in the trenches during World War II was at times considered a luxury. Getting decent hot food from the field kitchens to the frontline trenches could be impossible when a battle was either imminent or in full flow. When soldiers were at stand-down, food was easier to acquire, and both British and German troops could expect certain food to be available with a degree of frequency. Sweden had very few tanks in the interwar era. For a time, the entire armored corps consisted of 10 Stridsvagn 21. This was a design based upon German First World War tank and had been secretly purchased by Sweden in the form of tractor assembly kits.
So we have been talking about transportation and how the Swedish army produced and used different kinds of vehicles.
But not just vehicles. We have also been talking about food and the soldiers' lifestyle around the world, in Sweden and in other countries.
We've also talked about how propaganda makers made battlefields look like heaven.
Thank you for watching. Make sure to join us next week on Cold Facts.